offs will be had, because in the woods it's single track, so they're going to be on their tail trying to get around them, and then in the short course you're going to have to get it all you got to try to get around these guys. So it's going to be an interesting day of racing. UTV, the 4900 Can-Am class, will be starting in roughly 10 minutes. It should be a 6-lap race on corrected time. They'll leave in 20-second increments. It's going to be a fun all day long of racing. So we'll do the Can-Am UTV race this morning. We'll have hopefully the Kids Cup, the 170s later today. We'll do the 4600 Pro Comp Stock class, the 4500 Rubicon Express Modified class, and the 4800 G2 Legends class, followed up by the 4400 Unlimited guys. Yesterday we did have a little bit of a rain delay for qualifying, but we were able to get that in just perfect timing. I did get soaked the last 2 minutes trying to get stuff loaded up to get back to town. It rained hard last night, but the track doesn't look terrible. The woods, that could be a different story.
Yeah, I believe you're right on that, Miles. Out here, the track's going to be a little bit different today as far as the wet conditions, staying away from them mud puddles and stuff like that. It's not going to be all about speed. It's about staying on the track, keeping it lined out, that's for sure.
Smooth will be fast today. I took a lap ride with Jody Ford in his UTV yesterday, and a few of those hills you get to the top and you just hit the brakes and catch a rut and slide all the way to the bottom. It was a 5.3 mile lap, but they did cut it down a little bit because there's some single track steep up and downs that they cut off about 1.75 miles, so it'll be roughly a 3-mile racetrack today. Like I said, it should be around a 6-lap race, leaving 20-second increments. It is on corrected time, so even starting out front, yeah, it's your race to lose. So it's going to be interesting to see, because the guy in the back could win this thing. You just never know.
That's for sure. It looks like right now on the weather goes around here in Bedford, Kentucky at the Dirty Turtle. About 2 o'clock, Miles, is what they're saying. About 2 to 10 is what they're calling for the rain and storms coming through. So hopefully we can catch that big window from 2 to 10 and maybe dry the track out just a little bit.
So after yesterday's KMC qualifier, in 10th position was Joey Beck with a 146. 9th position was Travis Zollinger. 8th place was Evan Engelhart. 7th place was John LaCroix. 6th place was Chase Caprera. Our top 5, Sean Holland with a 140. Number 4, James Cantrell, driving that Mad Ram 11 vehicle with a 139. 3rd place, Brandon Davis with a 138.8. 2nd place, Dustin Robbins with a 138.06. And our top spot, the KMC Hard Charger, Jay Shaw starting out. And I was talking to some of his crew just a little bit ago. He showed up late yesterday, did one sight lap on the short course, went out and qualified first. He hasn't even seen the woods yet. So the first guy on course, he'll smoke through the short course and then dive into the woods blind. He hasn't seen this course yet, but GPS will help him. It's very well marked, but it's going to be interesting to have the fast guy out front with very little idea how this course is out the back.
Now, you said you got to take a lap around through the woods yesterday, Miles. Is that right?
Yeah, and it's a cool area, but like I said, we did change some stuff because it's rained so much that, you know, for safety reasons, for bottleneck reasons, we did cut the course down, but this is a cool park. We did the same thing last year, and it was dry conditions, and this place is cool. I mean, they've got shower houses, they've got cabins, they keep the lawn just immaculate, the gravel roads, there's bypasses. You can take a stock Jeep and wheel all over this place all weekend. It's very family friendly. The Dirty Turtle Off-Road Park's a cool place.
Yeah, that's been coming here for several years, me and my boys and stuff. I'll tell you what, it really is, you hit the point right there on as far as being a family-oriented park. A lot of great facilities down here. Miles, on this trails back through the woods, on the changes that they made as far as the weather conditions goes, can you kind of help fill me in on that? What changes? I mean, well, they got a lot more, did away with some of the hills or a lot of corners, or what they do?
Mainly some of the hills where if you didn't make it, you have to back down. Well, then there's somebody that's going to be right on your tail, so then all of a sudden you're trying to back into somebody. You got 2 or 3 people trying to back down. So for safety reasons, we eliminated some of the steep hills back there, but it's still going to be challenging. It's still going to be fun. It's going to be fast. It's going to be very interesting.
That's right.
Nitto Tire is on site alongside with Renegade Race Fuel, so a huge shout out to those guys. Don't forget, tonight is the Big O dealership shootout. The SRRS guys are out here. They're going to be playing. There's $7,500 on the line for the quickest to the top. I've seen Tim Cameron out here. A lot of the rock bouncers are ready to play tonight, and that is a rain or shine event. So it was a lot of fun last year. We'll see what happens.
Rain or shine on the hill climb. What do you think about that, Miles? That could be. And how much money did you say?
There's a lot of mud down there. It's a lot of steep hills. There's a lot of little ledges back there, so this mud's going to be very interesting.
And you said, what, $7,500? Is that what you were saying?
The Big O dealership threw out $7,500 quickest to the top, so huge shout out to those guys. It's going to be fun.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'll tell you what, you definitely need to come out and check that out. That's going to be crazy. That is going to be crazy.
We're about an hour outside of Louisville, so if you're in the area out here in Kentucky, please show up. It's going to be a great time.
Need to know any direction or anything, you can go to dirtyturtleoffroadpark.com. dirtyoffroadpark.com.
This is our third and final four-wheel parts Eastern Regional Series, so it'll be interesting to see how this lines everything going into the Nationals. Our next race will be the Ridge Crest. It's August 11th and 12th on the OHV Ridgecrest land, and that follows up by the Four-Wheel Parts Nitto National Championship outside of Reno, Nevada, October 20th and 21st. At the Wild West Motorsports Park. That is one of our best venues outside of King of the Hammers. Very spectator friendly, lots of grandstands. You can see the entire short course from that place, so do not miss the Nitto National Championship in October. We do still have the Nitto Triple Crown going on. Jason Shearer won King of the Hammers, so he is leading that. Paul Horschel won the Mint 400. He's in second. That leads us into Crandon over Labor Day, so it's going to be very exciting to see that. We still have the Fab School Manufacturers Cup. Miller Motorsports is leading by 3 points. They have roughly 5 cars in the big race. Team Campbell, and they've got roughly 5 cars also, so it'll be very interesting to see if the Fab School Manufacturing Cup can be shaken up today. And we are on the East Coast, and we have quite a few of the West Coast guys out here. Like I just said, the Campbells are here. All 3 Gomez brothers are here. Team Jack Racing, we got Rick Levezzo and Jimmy Jack. Casey Shears teamed up with those guys. And I do believe I see Jay Shaw, number 17, our KMC pole position, getting ready. He's got the motor running. Remember, we leave in 20-second increments. This will be a 6-lap race. Tim, this party's about to get started.
That's right. We're ready to go. Ready to go with the mud and all. I'll tell you what, it's going to be a great race today. That's right. Like I said, they're not calling for any rain, and we'll see what it does. But you know how the forecast is. It'll be calling for rain at 2 o'clock, not rain until 4 to 5. But from 2 to 10, definitely looking like rain, that's for sure. We ain't going to talk about that right now. We're going to talk about how nice it is outside, the sunshine, how the weather's beautiful out. Good race day.
We do have just shy of 90 entries for the day. The sun is shining. Battle in the Bluegrass. Jay Shaw, our KMC hard charger, heading into MBRP corner. Remember, he has not seen the woods yet, so it's going to be interesting to see how that pans out for him. He just hits the Holly EFI launch. Off the line next, the number 311, Dustin Robbins in his single-seat UTV. Remember, it's 20-second increments, so this is on corrected time. Number 3 off the line, Brandon Davis, the number 1. Lots of action on the short course as we speak. We are hot and heavy during the 4900 Can-Am UTV class. Up next, number 502, James Trail, driving the Mad Ram 11 Turbo UTV. Out of Alabama, fairly local to here. I expect James Trail to do very well out here, as well as Dustin Robbins. This is kind of their neck of the woods. Up next, off the line, the 1905 John Holland. And you can tell the short course is definitely slick, but they are pushing and making good time. And I do see Jay Shaw dipping into the woods, so our first guy off the line heads into the Monster Woods section. Off the line, Chase Caprera in his Can-Am UTV.
Miles, one thing for sure, on the starting gate here, they're taking off. It's pretty muddy and wet conditions, of course, and they all know that, but I tell you what, it's making the strategy pretty tough for them.
Off the line now, the number 27, John LaCroix. You probably recognize his son name, Cash LaCroix. He's big in the rock crawler scene. And I just saw Chase Caprera just take a bath in one of those water holes.
Yeah, they're doing their best to try to dodge the mud puddles right now, and unfortunately, some of them are not making it. They are hitting the mud puddles.
Off the line there was the 1991 of Evan Engelberg. He's been racing with us quite a while. Just like in qualifying, his car did a little bit of stumble off the line, but it sounds like he's got it cleared up. Hitting the Holly EFI liftoff, hitting the four-wheel parts landing. And off the line there was the number 220, Travis Zollinger. And that's a little cool story. Zollinger gave Caprera a front diff yesterday just before qualifying, so it's cool to see all the Ultra 4 family really help each other out. Off the line next, the number 1917, Joey Beck.
Each one of them is trying to pick a certain line when they pull it out up here at the starting. And, man, once they get off that line, they're trying to keep it in the rut.
Getting ready to take off, part of Miller Motorsports, the number 819, Scott Decker. He had a great showing in Pennsylvania. He came from short course racing, but is really making a name in the Ultra 4 scene running with Team Miller Motorsports.
Miles right now looks like probably about the biggest problem they're having is coming up in turn 2. It's got kind of a hairpin turn. When they come out of turn 2, they got a pretty good mud puddle there. Looks like a little lake, and they're trying to stay out of that, and most of them are sliding through it. So that's what they're all trying to dodge right now.
Just off the line there was the number 4931, Jacob Versey, getting ready to hit the Holly EFI liftoff. And off next from the West Coast, number 79, part of Team Awesome, Casey Shear and his Can-Am. Heavily sponsored by Can-Am. Cool to see Casey out here. It's a long trek. Off the line in 14th position, the number 111, Ross Pilgreen. If that machine's still in action, he did qualify for the 4400 class as well. So it'll be interesting to see what kind of shape he's in after this race. Off the line next will be the 4915 of Paul Kraut. There is so much action out here on the short course. Remember, they are leaving in 20-second increments. I see Scott Decker, Miller Motorsports, heading into the Monster Woods section. And it's muddy. There's lots of water holes.
Well, like right now, Miles, look like we're waiting for the first one to come out of the woods yet to see how he's going to do to get out of the woods. So he's probably going to take a little extra time for sure, like you're talking about. Because did you say he's not been in the woods at all, right?
And the number 211, Michael Lee out of Alabama, in his Gilbert Designs built UTV, hitting the Holly EFI liftoff. Right behind him is the number 2700, Justin Barth out of Springfield, Missouri. Fairly local to myself. I'm just south of Kansas City in Paola. Up next, the number 902, Patrick Murray in his Can-Am. It's a good-looking yellow machine. He's in the Special Forces, so good to see him being able to play out here with us on his downtime. Getting ready to take off the line next, the number 118, Jody Hickman. Getting ready to take off next will be the 4973 of Chris Holland. It's going to be very interesting to see what kind of lap times we're throwing down with the muddy conditions out in the woods. And speaking of the woods, that must be our first guy, Jay Shaw, on one of our rock climbs out there. Nope, that is Scott Decker on scene, part of Miller Motorsports, picking his lines. Looks like there's somebody just in front of him having some issues. Looks like the 502 of James Cantrell, so you can just see how slick it is. These guys are trying to turn but just can't get it. Scott Decker goes for the pass. So I can't quite tell if Cantrell's having issues or if Scott's backing up as well. It's going to be an interesting race out back in the woods. So we just sent off the 4973 of Chris Holland, the number 706 of Chris Armstrong, the number 4928 of John Hall, and the 537 of Michael Fultz. 2 more to go. Looks like the number 24 of Cole Clark will take off next. We will have 25 UTVs on course, making a 6-lap race, roughly that 3-mile range loop. And finally, the number 1110, Todd Cooke, will be taking off. He opted to not qualify yesterday. He wanted to save the car for today's race. He said a rear start's not going to be that bad, but we're seeing in the woods that could be a little bit tricky with some bottlenecks out there. So the whole field is on course.
You definitely called it right this morning, Miles, on that as far as the race goes. It's like anybody's game right now. The way the course is set up, the way conditions are right now. It's not because you got the fastest one, the best looking one, by all means. It's if you can stay together, keep it on track, and not slide off.
And this is an endurance race, so to finish first you must finish. So there's going to be a lot of strategy to save the car. The entire field, 25 cars, are on course for the 4900 Can-Am UTV class. This is the KMC Wheels battle in the BlueGrass just outside of Bedford, Kentucky at the Dirty Turtle Off-Road Park. We are hot and heavy in racing. The sun is out. There's a lot of clouds. There's talk of rain this afternoon. It could be an interesting day of racing, but we're going to make the best of it. On screen is Todd Cooke, making his last few rounds in the Dirty Turtle short course. Looks like the number 24 of Cole Clark's diving into the Monster Woods section.
Miles, we've got everybody on track right now, but we don't have anybody coming out yet, so we're going to be having a bottleneck here in a second. We're going to find out where these guys are at.
And right there on screen is Scott Decker and James Cantrell still fighting their spots out there. That was the 4973, Chris Holland cruising through. Making good work up that hill climb. He started in 22nd position, so he can definitely see where everybody else has been. Remember Jay Shaw, who our KMC hard charger was, hadn't been in the woods yet. And it's been so busy on the short course, I haven't been paying attention to the screen 100%, so I don't know if we've seen him on screen yet or not, but it's going to be fun. It's going to be interesting. It's going to be a long day of racing. getting a little bit of information through my PCI radio. It sounds like Scott Decker already blew up his front diff, so it's going to be darn near impossible to make some of those hill climbs in two-wheel drive. So that's why he's having issues back there, and he's right along with James Cantrell, so I assume he's probably having issues. I think the attrition's going to set in today. There's going to be a lot of broken parts because they're going to have to push extra hard back in the woods trying to make those rock climbs just to make it through the race course. So there's definitely some carnage so far today. Sounds like Scott Decker is calling his day, so tough break for him. First lap already popping the front diff, but without four-wheel drive, you will not make it through this course. Sounds like Joey Beck may also be having some issues out there. I believe he's calling his day short as well. So out of 25 cars on the first lap, we've already got a couple that are dropping out. Attrition starting to set in quick.
Miles, I'm sitting there watching it on the screen also. I tell you what, those guys are definitely having some difficulty getting around some of the trees and stuff, sliding into some of the trees. So it's going to be a tough one for them, but this is an endurance race like you said.
There's lots of chatter on the radio. I'm right next to a lot of the sponsors, or the spotters, so it's kind of cool to hear what they're talking about. Michael Lee just chatted back on the radio saying there's carnage everywhere out there, so being smooth and consistent may win you this race today. If you're going too fast and staying out of control, it'll be anybody's race. So that on screen is Scott Decker with that broken front end, and he's just trying to get off the race course to get out of here to get back to camp.
Yeah,
so
he's trying to pick him out of place there, Miles. They need to come find him, go down the hill to come out. So it's going to be tough for him to get out of there, that's for sure.
So tough break for Scott Decker, part of Miller Motorsports. We had Casey Gilbert up here spotting for him. He'll be racing in the G2 Legends class later on today in his Miller Motorsports chassis. Along with his, if his car's still together, he'll race the 4400 race also. I just saw Clyde Bynum roll through here. He's Mr. SRRS himself, putting on the shootout this evening. The Big O dealership shootout tonight with the SRRS. Well, Clyde, it's going to be muddy out there right now, and they're calling for more rain. Rain or shine, we're doing this tonight, right?
Yes, sir, and honestly, I would rather it be wet and muddy than dusty any day, and I'm going to tell you probably 99% of my drivers would prefer it to be wet and muddy as well.
So speaking of some of your drivers, it looks like, I'm going to cut you just short there, sorry, Clyde. This is Jay Shaw, our first guy out of the Steel It Wood section. So he made that first lap after not seeing it at all, and he's got the lead. Remember, it was 20-second increments. So, Clyde, back to you. I've seen Tim Cameron out here. How many guys you got racing in the shootout this evening?
I haven't even taken account, but we're probably at 14 or 15 at least.
And Big O dealership threw out $7,500, so they're going to be bringing everything they got tonight.
Yeah, you know, that's our style, so our guys will bring it like that 100% every time.
Well, it'll be fun to watch. I can't wait to see it tonight. Thanks again, Clyde. I believe that was the number 1 of Brandon Davis that just came through. So yes, that was Jay Shaw followed by Brandon Davis. So Davis got around Dustin Robbins out in the wood section somewhere. So on corrected time, it's going to be very close. Brandon Davis may be our leader. He's 40 seconds behind Jay Shaw. On split time, Brandon Davis on corrected time is our unofficial leader right now as he came through the KMC start finish line. And it's looking like the course is setting in because I see multiple flat tires on both of these cars on course. And there is only one entrance and exit for the hot pit, so they're going to have to run a fair amount of the woods with flat tires. There's Jay Shaw heading into the Monster Woods section. Our third UTV out of the woods is going to be Sean Hollick. He started in 5th position, so he's gotten around James Cantrell and Dustin Robbins. Speaking of Dustin Robbins, here he comes. I believe in that single seat. Yep, the 311, Dustin Robbins. Lost a couple positions, but he's still moving good. Tim, we got some action here in the Dirty Turtle short course.
We got a ton of action right there, that's for sure. Once the guys get it figured out, going through the woods course there, even though the conditions are pretty bad for them back there, once they get it figured out, they're going to know where to go and know how to hit it. It's just figuring it out because it's all different when it's wet and muddy, that's for sure.
And remember, this is a 6-lap race, so the top guys have just finished their first lap, but now they're going to be heading back out on lap 2, and there's going to be carnage on the course. So is there going to be lap traffic? Are there going to be bottlenecks? It's going to be an interesting day for these guys. Another great shot from our live drone from the Hammer King Productions crew, giving you this great live show from the middle of Bedford, Kentucky, nowhere. On screen, the number 17. That should be Joey Beck, possibly.
Yeah, they're going to figure out different ways to try to, different sides and figure out the tire pass to get up that hills. Going to try to make them faster all day, even though it's only 6 laps. Miles, 6 laps in a course like this. How many laps do you think it's going to make them feel like? 25 or 30 laps, right?
It's going to be a long day. And on screen, my correction, that was our leader, Jay Shaw, number 17. So he's still making quick work. And like we're talking about, we see flat tires. It's going to be very difficult for these guys. That's the number 1 of Brandon Davis with that left front flat and a right rear flat. These guys are still giving it all they got trying to make it to the hot pits. How many spare tires do they have in the hot pits? Do they have enough? After 1 lap of racing, are they having 2 flats?
That's right.
Looks like the 1481 of Chase Caprera stopped on course in his Can-Am UTV. Not sure what's going on with him. He did have to swap a front diff yesterday before qualifying.
It's like we said, Miles, from the very beginning, it's anybody's game at this point right now.
1 lap in, 5 laps to go for the top guys. They did leave in 20-second increments. This is on corrected time, just like the Oklahoma and Shamokin race. It's going to be a battle of survival.
That's for sure, because right there where they come out of the woods at, Miles, is where...
That looks like the 1991 of Evan Engelhart heading out of the Steelett Woods section. Followed closely by Zollinger, I believe, throwing mud all over Chase Caprera. He's pulling winch. And it's going to be harder and harder to tell who's who, so Tim and myself will do our best to try to keep everybody honest. But yes, Chase Caprera's pulling winch on the short course.
Yeah, they're trying to, right now they got the pulling the winch out, pulling the rope out, trying to get him hooked up so they can get him up off the course. He's kind of in a bad spot there, Miles. As soon as he comes out, as soon as everybody comes out of the woods, the other boy, he's broke down right there. So they're trying to get him pulled up out of the way so he's not in some danger right there. Not really for sure what happened. He just come out of the woods course, made the turn, and broke down.
And it looks like it is Brian Caprera who's co-dogging for his son. He's got to race his big car later on today, so he's got a lot of work cut out for him. So on screen, that's the 220 Travis Zollinger. These guys have a long day ahead of them. Again, I'm Miles Hasselquist alongside Tim Smith. We'll be with you all day long for a fun day of racing.
Fun, muddy day, that's for sure. These guys so far have really done a good job. I'm impressed because of all the mud and the track conditions and stuff like that, and especially back in the woods. You know, we keep talking about it, on how difficult it makes it, and how you think the course is one way, but once you get out there, it's another way. And then plus all the mud and stuff, it just changes it up. I mean, it's like anybody's game at this point, that's for sure.
And on screen, we just saw Evan Engelhart and Travis Zollinger head into the Monster Woods section. And we still have Chase Caprera just outside the Steelett exit of the woods, winching him out of the way. Not sure what's going on. It's kind of odd. He was able to make it all the way through the woods, and then it finally gets to open road, and he breaks down. Not sure what's going on.
He's just about getting pulled off the track right now. They're saying he might have broke his belt, not really for sure, but he come out of the woods pretty strong. Had a good run to start with. Man, as soon as he come out, it just shut off like somebody turned the key off. So got another one coming out of the woods right now.
So I've got Patrick here with Gigabit. You've built a couple games for us here at the Ultra 4. You sponsor Casey Shearer and Brian Croft, I believe. Thanks for jumping on board. You've been with us for a long time. What brings you out here?
I'm just here with Clyde. I haven't been up here to this side. I've always gone to the King of the Hammers, and just got to see what it's all about.
Well, you picked a muddy race to come to. That's the part of the luck, but man, we're going to have a lot of fun out here. Thanks again for supporting Ultra 4 and building that fun game to kill some time when you're at work or at home just goofing off. It's a pretty cool gig you got going on.
Yeah, Dave has supported us a lot with the first game, and this is just research for us.
Well, great. Thanks again, Patrick, with Gigabit Off-Road. We've had a lot of action come through the short course just now. We had Jacob Versey, Casey Shear, and Michael Lee coming through, so they're still making great runs. That's a great shot of Casey Shear and his Gigabit Can-Am UTV. Trying to make the pass in the Dirty Turtle Off-Road Whoop section.
Okay, looks like Chris Armstrong just came out. Making a good run.
Well, don't let this sun trick you. It is a muddy mess out here for the 2018 KMC Wheels Battle in the BlueGrass. We're just outside of Bedford, Kentucky at the Dirty Turtle Off-Road Park. We've had multiple rainstorms move through. There's a chance of rain later on today. It's extremely spectator friendly. You can see the entire short course. This is a big, bad short course. I love it. It's a lot of fun, and then they pop out in the woods. We do have a couple cameras out in the woods on some of those hard rock climbs, so it's gonna be a fun day of racing. We hope the rain holds out, but if it doesn't, this is unlimited off-road racing. So we will have some fun today regardless. Followed up by tonight's Big O dealership SRRS versus Ultra 4 shootout with $7,500 on the line.
Okay, if you can see on camera right now, they're attempting to go back up through the woods up on the hill, so we're going to see what can happen. Okay, Justin Barth and Patrick Murray just came out.
Patrick Murray is in a Can-Am. Great to see him out here. This is the 4900 Can-Am UTV class. Justin Barth still moving smooth, hitting the Holly EFI liftoff, heading into the 4-wheel parts landing. They're both heading through the RCV corner as we speak. Cool camera angle right there. And you want to stay inside coming out of that corner because that water hole's deep.
Yeah, the guys are struggling with it pretty good on that Holly EFI Live turn you was talking about there, that little pond, I call it. They was all trying to stay out of it for sure, but now they're kind of going around it, and it's like, no way, just got to go through it and keep on going. It's for sure they're not going to be staying clean, that's for sure.
And that's another great shot, hitting the savvy off-road roller. Patrick Murphy right on Justin Barth. You can tell him lift up just a little bit, trying not to eat his roost. So he's have to pick his poison where he tries to push it to get around. Because once you get to the woods, there's not much passing unless they hiccup and miss a corner.
Now, we were talking, Miles, at the beginning of the race where everybody had, what, about a 20-second delay in between side-by-sides, right?
They left in 20-second increments. It is on corrected time. They're doing 6 laps. So our fast guys are out on their lap.
So, ladies and gentlemen, you can, if you're watching live on TV there, you can see the distance in between them now. I mean, there's like minutes over minutes between everybody.
But our KMC hard charger pole position, Jay Shaw, still is out front. But that doesn't mean he's winning this on corrected time.
That's right. We started off with, what was it, 22? 24, was it?
We had 25 take the start, but we've already had a few call it, so it'll be very interesting to see. Looks like we have another one coming out of the Steelett Wood exit. That's the number 24 of Cole Clark. And I got a good visual of Chase Caprera and Brian Caprera over there working on their Can-Am. It looks like they blew a belt, so just think of changing a belt at your house in the garage. It's not too big of a deal. But when you just made a full lap out here, everything's covered in mud, makes this job extremely hard to do. And you want to keep the inside of your clutch clean because if that belt gets wet, it slips and makes for an interesting race.
Most definitely. What would you say about it? Take about a 10, 15-minute job, about an hour almost.
Yeah, if I was at home, I could change that belt in 5 to 10 minutes. But out here with all the mud and all the extra things, you can't even see some of those bolts, I'm sure.
Yeah.
So that could turn into, an hour job. Who knows? I was checking out Casey Shear's Can-Am in the pits at the last race. He's got a pretty cool setup. He's got a quick release on his belt, so he just pulls a couple clips, the cover comes right off, and he's got a good routine for making a quick belt change. That is one of the problem areas for some of these UTVs is blowing belts. So that's lots of these guys run belt temperature sensors to let you know, hey, back down a little bit, that your belt's getting hot, because the belts do not live when they get hot. So that looks like it's going to be Patrick Murray on screen, which it is, the number 902 in his Can-Am. Can-Am does offer different models. He chose to get the narrower one for some of these woods races, so cool to see. So could this be our leader? It is, number 17, Jay Shaw. Still has a left rear tire, but he's been leading this race. Out front has not been passed yet. But it's going to be tough to keep running with that flat tire. But he's still pushing all the way. Jay Shaw, our hard charger pole position, still out front. And could this be? It is John Hall, our second place.
like we was talking about earlier, ladies and gentlemen, it's only it's going to be 6 laps only, but it's with all the things that the guys are going to have to go through, the track conditions and stuff like that, it's going to make it feel like about 26 laps for sure.
So John Hall came through. He just finished his first lap, so he is technically a lap down, but number 2 position should be Sean Hollick, and he started in 5th position, so that's roughly a minute and a half or so behind Jay Shaw. So corrected time, it's going to be interesting, and this could be Dustin Robbins, which it is, heading out on his 3rd lap, physically in 3rd position, but on corrected time, Sean Hollick has him. So we have our top 3 heading out for their 3rd lap for this 4900 Can-Am UTV race. Lots of action here in the Dirty Turtle short course. On screen, that's Dustin Robbins. And I heard a little rumor he may be upgrading here pretty soon. He's going to purchase another SR1 with a turbo on it. He wants a little more wound power for these open sections. Dustin Robbins heading into the Nitto little roller jump, followed by a tight right-hand corner, getting ready to drop off into the Monster Woods section.
About how many do we have that's already dropped out so far on this, Miles? Do you have any idea on that? I know at least 2, right?
Confirmed 2, but there's got to be more that haven't called it yet. They're trying to hope to get through, but there's only 1 spot here for a hot pit, so if they can't make it to there, there's only 1 entrance, 1 exit, so they got to try to fix their own car on course to get to that hot pit. So I'm sure there's a few more, just so I can see Chase Caprera. Looks like they got their belt back on. Hopefully they'll be on course here shortly. So physically out on course, we have Jay Shaw in that 1st position. Physically, Sean Hollick physically 2nd, Dustin Robbins physically 3rd. Remember, they did leave in 20 seconds. This is on corrected time. It is a 6-lap race for the 4900 UTV class. This is the 2018 KMC Wheels Battle in the BlueGrass. We're just outside of Bedford, Kentucky at the Dirty Turtle Off-Road Park. There's a good shot of our spectator area out in the woods section. Looks like that's the 311 of Dustin Robbins.
Ladies and gentlemen, if you ever get time, come on out and go online and visit the DirtyTurtleOffroadPark.com. Look at some of our upcoming events. We have all kinds of different events going through all year long, up till October. Several different events. It is a family-oriented park, so come on down. Check out our events. Come down and camp with us.
This is our 3rd and final race of the 4-Wheel Parts Eastern Regional Series. Up next will be the Ridgecrest race. That'll be our 3rd and final race for the Laser Nut Western Series. Speaking of Laser Nut, they've stepped up in a huge way this year and are making every single trophy for every race this year, so they've stepped up in a huge way. Thank you again, Laser Nut. While we do have a little break, we'll thank some of our sponsors: 4-Wheel Parts, Amada, Amsoil, Axel, Bestop, Can-Am, ESOB, the Fab School for the Manufacturers Cup, G2, Genrite, Griffin, HCR, Holly EFI, Jeep, King, KMC, LaserNut, MBRP, Method, Monster Energy, Nitto Tires on site, Optima Battery, PCI Radio, ProComp, RCV, Renegade Fuels on site, Reno Tahoe, Rigid Industries, Rubicon Express, Champa, Share My Coach, Savvy, Smitty Built, Spider Track, Squatch Box, Steal It, Tensor, US Gear, Warren, and Yukon. So thanks again for all those guys. If it wasn't for them, we would not be racing today. So please support who supports us. Give those guys a little bit of love. Check out their websites. Get on their social medias. Speaking of social media, get on our King of the Hammers Facebook, our Instagram, Ultra 4 Racing. Be sure to turn in live if you're even on site on your smartphone, ultra4racing.com/live. It's a great way. I see a lot of people in the pits actually tuning in, listening to the live broadcast to keep some of their racers up to date. So we just saw Chris Holland. He's a lap down. He was heading out on lap 2. Looks like Chase Caprera's back on course after changing that belt. His father, Brian Caprera, riding shotgun. He'll be in the big race later on today. So they are just finishing their first lap, heading out on lap 2. So Tough Break, he broke a front diff yesterday before qualifying. The Zollinger crew had a spare one, so they swapped her out. Now they're blowing belts. They're having a tough weekend, but they really enjoy racing with us. We have another UTV coming out of the Steal It Woods section. You can see lots of tear-offs out here on the short course. Looks like that's going to be the 49.15 of Paul Kraut. He's also down a lap, so he had some issues out in the woods section. He's heading out for lap 2 out of 6. So we did cut about 1.75 miles out of the woods section today. It was originally supposed to be a 5.3 mile lap, but with all the rain and mud conditions, we shaved off about 1.75 miles out there. So it's roughly a 3-mile course out there. Looks like fast lap time of the day is Dustin Robbins. Sorry, it was Sean Hollick with a 15:09. So that 15-minute mark is going to be the time to beat. That looked like the 2:20 of Travis Zollinger. It is. So that should be our physical 4th place leader on course. Remember, everything is on corrected time, and everything Tim and I say is unofficial. We try to do our best to keep you guys updated, but we got a lot of stuff going on out here. We do our best to keep everything as accurate as we can, but you never know.
That's for sure. That's for sure. Like I said, the woods is definitely still playing a toll on them. They're still trying to figure out a good groove and a good way to go up and down these hills. Ladies and gentlemen, I'll tell you what, it's strategy. It's all about strategy here. Making it around the open course here without hitting all the mud puddles and stuff like that. Trying to go through the woods and stay in the same groove or pick a better groove to go up the hills on. It's tough for them. It's nothing like every time to go around, it kind of changes a little bit for them. Somebody makes a new rut, slides off, then they got to stay out of that rut. So it's definitely tough. I mean, it's not a cakewalk, that's for sure.
And on screen was a great shot of Zollinger hitting the Savvy off-road roller into the Dirty Turtle Whoop section. Heading downhill that tight 180. Back up to the Nitto lift jump. We still are right in the middle of the Nitto Triple Crown. Jason Shear is leading that race because he won King of the Hammers. He is our current Nitto King of the Hammer champion. Followed closely by Paul Horschel, who won the Mint 400. And then over Labor Day, we'll be at Crandon Racing to throw it all on the line. There's roughly $30,000 on the line to be won in Crandon. So it'll be fun to watch, so be sure to stay tuned in for that. Coming across the line right now should be Jacob Versey. He's heading out for his 3rd lap. He's our physical 5th place on course. So we are 1 lap shy of halfway through this race. The short course is starting to tack up a little bit. There's still definitely some mud puddles, but these guys are really making good runs through the Dirty Turtle short course.
Yes, they are, Miles, that's for sure. The short course is definitely looking a lot better and tackier, that's for sure. But the woods, I don't believe the woods is going to dry out anytime soon. We do have some clouds rolling over and some sunshine behind us, so it's anybody's game on the weather too, you know what?
Weather will definitely play a factor. I've got Albert Contreras here with me. He's our KMC pole position setter for the 4600 Pro Comp stock class. What's going through your mind right now? You're watching the UTVs race. Are you getting amped up to get in your race? You getting in your zen? What are you doing?
I just came out here to check out that course, that short course section right here, to see how it's holding up and see if it got cleaned up a little bit. But I see it's the same way right now. So, you know, it's going to be the strategy and just stick your foot in that pedal all the way down and go.
And for the stock class, they did shave off. You guys can take a few bypasses because technically you guys are down on power compared to the UTVs and the bigger cars. So we did a little bypass for you to hopefully get you through this race, but it is going to be a battle of attrition. What's your game plan to go out there? Are you going to push as hard as you can to try to get out front, or do you want to finish this thing?
I think this race is going to be the smartest and the luckiest guy is going to win this race right here. It's a tough course. Some of the sections we couldn't go up because of the weather permitting, but I mean the weather made it real difficult for us, and we had some rain last night too, so it's even harder to go up those hills. And we're the underclassmen, so we're underpowered and stuff like that. So.
And you, speaking of the weather, have you been keeping up on the weather? Can you give us a little quick update? Have you been checking the radar and whatnot? What's it looking like?
Well, I've been on the weather the whole day, so it looks like we start at 12 o'clock, 12:30, so weather's coming in hard at about 1 o'clock, so we'll be out on the course when the water's coming down.
Well, that's going to make for an interesting day. And you travel all the way from Compton, California, and you have made every single Ultra 4 race. So just a huge shout out to you to make that much of a battle to come out here. I mean, you fought a flat tire coming out here this race. You hauled an extra UTV. You had some trailer issues. It's just cool to see you making that kind of commitment in the stock class to make every race.
Yeah, we're pretty committed to the season. At the beginning of the season, we didn't know we were going to be this committed, but I mean, we're in it here. It was a fun trip coming out here. I mean, it's just awesome doing the whole season, and we're closing out with this is our last race for the East Coast. So I mean, we're having fun.
Well, again, thank you again, Albert Contreras. It's going to be fun to watch you guys in that stock class. And thanks again, buddy.
Right on. Have a great day.
Well, Miles, right now we're still waiting for them to come out of the woods. We're looking for a screen on the woods here to see what they're doing back there, see what kind of strategy they got, or see if somebody's got stuck or having done a flat tire or something. So that's what we're looking for right now. Wait for them to come back out of the woods. It is tough in there, and I know they're having problems back there, but the guys are going to work it out.
And just like Albert was talking about the weather, we're hoping to do our first ever Kids Cup in the 170 class, but they are obviously way underpowered. They're only two-wheel drive, so if they're muddy, they probably can't get around, but we sure hope to get those kids out on course and racing. And it looks like coming out of the Steelett Wood exit could be Justin Barth. Little tough to tell. We'll get our tracker update. Yes, that is Justin Barth. I believe he's physically in 6th position out on course, so he's having a good run today.
I like the way he put that, Miles, a while ago. It's going to be the smartest and the luckiest guy, and I believe he's right on point when he says that, that's for sure. It ain't going to be about speed, not going to be about how your vehicle looks or the kind of tires you got, really. I mean, it's going to be about smart and being lucky to get around the corner and making the course without breaking down, tearing something up or whatnot.
And you can tell Justin Barth is having a smooth run. He's just running his own race. He started in 17th position. Remember, we started in 22nd increments, so on corrected time, he's looking pretty good. He's physically out on in 6th position, but just shy of halfway through this race. It's going to be interesting. He still has his spare tire on back. We've seen a few of the guys out front still running with flat tires, so it's going to be interesting to see if he can get some time back in the wood section with all 4 tires inflated.
I know it sounds crazy them still running with a flat tire, but they've got something up their sleeve as far as a strategy or something breaks down on the course, or they've got enough time where they're just kind of got their fingers crossed for, not going to say a yield or a caution flag or anything, but they can get enough time between them and everybody else to make it through.
And even with just a flat tire is okay, but if that tire completely comes off the rim, they are hardly going to move. So this is the 2018 KMC Wheels Battle in the BlueGrass. We're just outside of Bedford, Kentucky at the Dirty Turtle Off-Road Park. Thank you for everybody on site for staying with us through this interesting weather we've been having. And thanks again for everybody back home for staying tuned in. Ultra4racing.com/live. Get on our King of the Hammers Facebook. Hit that share button. Get on the Instagram. Hashtag it up. Let's grow this race. We've had lots of viewing yesterday during the KMC qualifier, so let's blow those numbers out of the water and hit the share button. Tell your friends, your family. Let's get everybody involved. And then the next few days after the race, everybody gets back to work, gets back to reality. They start playing on the social media, and make sure you share the pictures to the King of the Hammers Facebook page. Do all the hashtags, and it's really a lot of fun to see all the different photos from all the different angles.
That's for sure. I'll tell you what, that's definitely enjoy doing that. And ladies and gentlemen, also too on the DirtyTurtleOffRoadPark.com on our Facebook. Go to our Facebook, join up with us, follow us. We have all kinds of different events throughout the whole summer here at the DirtyTurtleOffRoadPark.com. And we have, like I said, all kinds of different events. Come down and watch them with us, participate, become a sponsor with us here at the park. We'd love to have you. We've got great facilities here. We've got several shower houses here, full bath shower houses, and we've got cabins here if you'd like to come down. You don't have a camper, but you want to come down and spend the weekend. We've got some great cabins you can rent right on site. A lot of nice stuff. Great trails, too. Beautiful trails. Okay, we got one just come out of the woods right there. Let's see who it is. Casey Shearer right there, ladies and gentlemen. Casey Shearer just came out of the woods right there, making a great run. Sound like he's still running pretty strong, too. It looks like all 4 tires are up on his, so that is a definite blessing in disguise in the Can-Am. And he's got his spare on board. Like we've been talking about all morning, the track is a little bit different. It is getting a little tackier out here on the open course. The woods course is probably not going to change a whole lot. Just kind of trying to keep the same rut, trying to find the same rut you went up the hill on a lot of these turns and try to make no mistakes, that's for sure. Okay, we just got another one coming out of the woods right now. Let's see who it is. They're coming out. And he sounds like he's still running pretty good. Doing a good job. All the tires are up, so that's a good plus.
So it looks like Sean Hollick just finished his 3rd lap. He's officially halfway through, so he got around Jay Shaw somewhere in the woods. So Sean Hall is our physical first place leader. So good job for him. He's in the Dirty Turtle short course as we speak. There's lots of chatter up here in the spotter room. Just heard over the PCI radio that Michael Lee had to call it quits, and he's saying there's lots of carnage back in the wood sections.
Okay, Miles, we got another one coming out, another Can-Am right there.
That looks like it's going to be the 902 of Patrick Murray, I believe. What lap is he on? He is a lap down, so he's heading out for his 3rd lap in his Can-Am. But he still looks smooth, still making a good run.
Yes, he is. It looks like everything is still intact, so that's a plus.
This is our third and final race of the Four Wheel Parts Eastern Series. So that'll get us a good setup for going into the Nitto National Championship in Reno, Nevada, October 20th and 21st at the Wild West Motorsports Park. But up next is going to be the Ridgecrest Desert Race. That'll be our third and final Laser Nut Western Series race. That'll be a very interesting race coming up in August, 11th and 12th at the Ridgecrest OHV land. Over Labor Day, we'll be in Crandon battling it out with the big boys. That'll be a short course. They're talking about throwing in a little wood or rock section. It'll be interesting to see what they throw up for the Ultra 4 guys, because that is a bucket list racetrack to go to.
Actually, a lot of the guys honestly really like that when they do that extra inform on their short course and stuff, because what it kind of does, it kind of separates things a little bit. It doesn't matter how much money you got in your rig and how nice your rig is and kind of tires you have that day. It's how you're going to drive and can you make it. You know, and it just kind of evens things out. I like it when I do that, and I'm sure a lot of the guys like it. And they like today, you know, just prime example. Got the woods course, which is nice, and it's an advantage to some of the guys, because some of the guys would rather do the woods course than the short course in the open. But there again, you add a little bit of mud to it, and that kind of changes the game up a lot.
Yeah, not a little bit, a lot of bit. Yeah,
that's
the
right.
mud's definitely played its factor so far, and they're talking rain this afternoon. We'll see. The course is starting to tack up, but there are still water holes on course, so if it rains a little bit, it's going to make for a interesting day of racing.
Well, so far, I haven't checked the weather in a little while, but so far from 2 o'clock to 10 o'clock is what they're saying right now, so we'll see how that works out. But you know how the weather guys go. It could be 3 o'clock, could be 4, but we're going to keep our fingers crossed, and maybe we can just kind of hold off on the rain, maybe just a little drizzle, wipe some of the mud off the windshields or something like that, and be lucky on that throughout the day and through the evening.
And so far, we are on time, so weather pending, we hope to keep everything rolling. So we're hot and heavy during the 4900 Can-Am UTV class. Roughly 12:30, we'll be kicking off the 4500, 4600, and 4800 EMC guys. Hopefully at 2:30, the Kids Cup 170 race. And right around 3:30 will be the Ultra 4 4400 Unlimited class. So please stay tuned in all day long. Again, I'm Miles Hasselquist alongside Tim Smith. We'll be bringing the action to you best we can.
The Kids Cup you was talking about, Miles, we watched them race here. They've got a little series they've been running here at the Dirty Turtle Off-Road Park. And that is something that's completely awesome. These kids out here, and it ranging anywhere from 4 years old to 9 years old. These kids just really do a good job. The parents help them get out there and perform good. And the little 170 racers and stuff, and man, these kids get out there and they're just so fired up, pumped up like the big dogs.
And we got another one, and it looks like that may be the number 1. That's number 17, Jay Shaw. He was our pole position setter for the KMC Hard Charger, so he's physically in second place. And Sean Hylett came through a while ago. He's got roughly a 7-minute lead. Sean Hollick 7 minutes ahead of Jay Shaw on corrected time. So if Sean Hallett can keep it together, he's having a good run. Not sure what happened to Shaw. I wonder if he pulled in the hot pits, changed some tires or not. Anything can happen out on course. So we only have 2 guys on the lead lap. They are halfway through this race. Sean Hollick up front, Jay Shaw.
So we've got 2 out of 23 now, right? Is that correct?
Yeah, there's 25 that took the green flag, and I bet you there's a half, almost double digits that have dropped out of this race already.
Gotcha. So ladies and gentlemen, if you're watching live here on your screen, even though you're not here or whatever, we're trying to help you out as far as telling you. I mean, it's just unbelievable and how tough the woods course has been on the guys today, and it's just being tough. It really is. The guys are doing a good job trying to keep them on course. And like I said, just trying to hit that same spot, sweet spot we call it, coming up down these hills, back in the woods, and trying to stay out of everybody else's mistake ruts, we're going to say.
So on screen you see Jay Shaw heading into the Monster Woods section, still moving strong, but he's roughly 7 minutes behind Sean Hollick.
He was running pretty hard out here, Miles, trying to make up that, so he definitely knows that he's, what, 7 minutes behind, you're saying, right?
Yep, and like I said, he had flat tires, so did he get in the hot pits, have an issue? Was he not having enough tires? Was the jack slipping off because all the mud? Who knows?
That's right.
And it didn't look like Jay has a co-driver, so that's makes it even trickier if you have issues out in the woods. And there is only one hot pits. There's only a single entrance and a single exit to get outside assistance, other than a racer that is still racing can help you change a tire. They can help bring you apart. But other than that, no outside assistance outside the hot pits.
Well, I'm like you on that, Miles. Day like today, and you have a problem having a co-rider with you, there's definitely going to be to your advantage, even though it's a disadvantage as far as the weight goes, you know, and stuff like that, and having to worry about somebody else being in the rig with you. But a day like today, man, changing a belt, changing a tire, just sliding you back, trying to get you back on the course and pull you back over, that would definitely, you'd want somebody like that with you.
Yeah, just a couple weeks ago, at the local series that I race in, the KCRRA, we had a 1-hour endurance race. I was able to pull out the win, but we did have the PCI radios. I had a spotter in the pits keeping me honest on the lead lap. And my machine, I had to stop for fuel one time, and the guy that I had just passed got a little bit of lead. He didn't have to stop for fuel, so he blew on by me. We fueled up, took back off after him. I did not have a co-driver, but I was able to reel him back in and take the win. It's a lot of fun to race yourself and to be up here and just be able to see what they're doing and get some tips and ideas, and bring you guys, the audience, a little behind the scene knowledge.
I bet that was really neat. You was pretty excited, wasn't you?
Yeah, I absolutely love racing. That's why I'm here. I can't quite afford to play at the limit these guys do, but I dabble in it back home. It's a lot of fun. So the 4-Wheel Parts Nitto National Championship in October 20th and 21st is in Reno, Nevada at the Wild West Motorsports Park. Do not miss that one. And while you're out there, check out Reno Tahoe. It's a beautiful part of the country. And that is for the Nitto National Championship. So we take King of the Hammers and the Nitto National Championship race, plus 3 of your best regional races. There's 5 of them. So if you make every single race, you can drop 2. If you only make 3, those are the races that count for points. So it's going to be interesting to see how the rest of the season sets us up for the Nitto National Championship. And tonight, 8 o'clock, rain or shine, it's the Big O dealership shootout, the SRRS, and a few of our Ultra 4 cars, as long as they don't get tore up in today's race. Big O dealership throw up $7,500 for the fastest guy to the top. We talked to Clyde Bynum a little bit ago, Mr. SRRS himself. He says he's got roughly 15 drivers here, and the one of the biggest names in his sport, Tim Cameron. So he's going to be running hard, trying to take home that money. We got another UTV coming through as we speak, and that is going to be Jacob Versey, physically in 3rd place, heading out on his on his 4th lap. He is right at the halfway mark as we speak.
And right now he's fighting a front and left flat.
And I couldn't see, but it sounded like that was Zollinger. It sure is, the number 220. Travis Zollinger hot on Versey's heel, both heading out for their 4th lap. So right around a minute separates them. Cole Clark is a lap down, number 24, so he'll be heading out for his 3rd lap.
Look like Jacob's got a front and left flat there. It's going down. I mean, it's going down right now as we speak. But it's something else he's going to fight.
Also, if you see any of the volunteers out there that help us put this race on, give them a thumbs up, give them a high five. They come out here on their own time, their own dime to put this thing on. The Hammer King production crews out here in the woods. They'll be out on cameras all day long, switching batteries, switching SIM cards. So there's a lot to put this on. I mean, we've got internet out here in the middle of nowhere up in the mountains, so great shout out to those guys that are behind the scenes. It's easy for me to just sit up here and jabber all day long, but they're the ones behind the scenes getting it done. So thanks again to the whole Hammer King safety crew and the Hammer King production crew, alongside with the Dirty Turtle off-road park guys. They've been some busy bees with all this weather.
That's right. A lot of here at the Dirty Turtle Off-Road Park. We've got a lot of volunteers, great recovery people. We call them volunteers. We really appreciate them. For the guys that's out there in the woods or whatever, flip their buggies over, lets them help us out and stuff like that. And a lot of the sponsors we have here at the park, we definitely appreciate the sponsors we have. And that's something that's huge here, even in this race today, as far as the sponsors go. All the sponsors are always appreciated.
So I've got the number 819 Scott Decker with Miller Motorsports out here. You had a good run and going, but it looks like you lost a front diff. What happened out there?
Yeah, we got up to the first hill, made it about halfway up. James Cantrell was in my way, so tried to get around him. He's usually in my way. And stood on the throttle and just ripped the whole front diff apart.
Well, that's a tough break. You have a little bit more short course background, but I believe your first race with us was in Pennsylvania. Is that correct? And you had a great showing there too, didn't you?
Yeah, so I used the big cars back in like 2012, 2013, stepped back to the Razors in my first race, Ultra. We had a good race, took second there. Was hoping to do a little bit better than 0 laps today, but
that's racing in all this mud and all this weather and lap traffic, like you said. It makes it for an interesting day of racing. You didn't make it far in there, but how tough is this course with all this mud?
Well, there was a guy off in the woods about, maybe 100 feet after we turned off. It was slick. We were just going slow, trying to make it through one lap at least, get a good pre-run in to go co-drive with Casey in the 4800 class, but didn't quite make that.
So you're going to ride with Casey Gilbert later on today as well in the 4800 G2 Legends class and the 4400 class?
Depends on how many times we have to winch in the 4800 class. He's got to back up if it decides to be a little bit more tough than just sitting in the car all day.
So if everything goes smooth, you'll race both races. That's going to be a lot of fun. Racing the UTVs this morning, then the 4800 class, and possibly the 4400 class. That takes a lot of effort. So great shout out to you, Scott.
Thanks, man. Looking forward to it.
Well, tough break on the UTV race, but we'll see you with Casey here after a bit, man. Thank you.
Hey, Miles, something you was mentioning here just a minute ago when you was talking to Scott. On the endurance course, as we call it here, like today what we're running, when he slides off the track, when he's going in, he slides off, I mean, how does it get back on? I mean, if we don't have one of our recovery guys, I mean, they're not allowed to help him. Is that correct?
So, yes, there is no outside assistance other than the Hammer King safety crew can help him get off, or a fellow racer that's still in the race. Just like Scott Decker cannot go back out on course to help because he's already called his race. But if another racer's out there and is not up front and feels friendly, he can, tug him out or, give him a little hand. Depends on if he's stuck, if he's broke. There's only one hot pits out here, so other than that, it has to be self-recovery, Hammer King crew, or a fellow racer.
Well, that's pretty good. I mean, so in other words, they slide off, then they're more welcome to reach over and grab that winch, hit release, wrap around a tree, pull themselves back on course, and then take back off. That's good. And I imagine that does happen quite a bit. Looks like we got one more coming out right now. Let's see who it is. And he is full throttle, that's for sure.
So that is our current leader, Sean Halleck, heading out for his 5th lap. Remember, he was 7 minutes ahead of Jay Shaw, so it'll be interesting to see if he's pulling more of a lead or if Jay can start to reel him in. But Sean Halleck is having a great race, and look how muddy that car is. It's almost hard to tell. So thank goodness for our tracking system we have. We've got a whole crew in here making that happen. remember, these guys took off in 30-second increments today. This is a race on corrected time. They are doing 6 laps in the 4900 Can-Am UTV class. We got another UTV coming out of the Steel It Wood section, and that is Justin Barth, still running pretty strong, but he is a lap down. He is heading out on his 4th lap out of 6, so he is right at the halfway mark. And you can just see how the mud is starting to take its toll. Both of his rear fenders have so much mud they're starting to fall off the UTV. There's a cool shot of a few of the UTVs heading up. That could be Zollinger, I can't quite tell. But yes, that is Zollinger heading up the wood section. We have another UTV coming out of the Steel It Wood exit. And this is going to be Jay Shaw, I do believe, so he's making up time. That is Jay Shaw physically in 2nd place. And he is roughly 4 minutes behind, so he's made up 3 minutes on that last lap. This is on corrected time, so he's got 2 more laps to start reeling them in. Jay Shaw is going to be pushing hard all the way to the finish line.
Now, he's running this open course pretty hard, Miles. So he's definitely going to try to make it up his time, that's for sure. Well, one of the advantages they've definitely got, Miles, out here on the open track of all the gaps that they have in between each other as far as having the problems back in the woods course is the guys don't have any pressure out here on the open course. You know, I mean, they're kind of out almost by themselves, but maybe a few of them running back to back.
And they've already completed 4 laps, so their mind is already have this kind of course dialed in. You're picking your points. You're remembering, hey, there's a mud hole after this corner. Stay inside, stay outside. At the start of this race, I'm sure they were going through tear-offs like crazy, because if you get behind somebody's roost, you go for the pass, it's hitting you in the face. You know, I drive a lot of times with one hand right out in front trying to block some of the big stuff, but if it hits your helmet, you got the tear-offs. If you run out of tear-offs, you have the windscreen, so you flip that up, hopefully you have some safety glasses on, and then if those get covered up, you go to eyesight. I've seen them multiple times, you know, Waylon Campbell and Levi Shirley come back and they're just completely covered their face. They can't see, they got to flush their eyes out after the race. So some of these races can be absolutely brutal on these drivers.
I think you're 100% correct on that today as far as having the tear-offs and stuff. And these guys probably like, okay, how many you think I need? I can put on here, you know?
I was talking to Dustin Robbins in the pit the other day, and he's got what's called a mud muncher, and it's a real style tear off that it's on electric dial. You just hit the button and it rolls it across the screen, and he was pretty excited about that. He's like, it's on the steering wheel, so if I get blubbed with mud, I hit a button, I can see once again, and he thought that was going to be a huge advantage. And he kind of told me he kept that as a secret weapon and didn't tell anybody until he got on site, because you couldn't overnight it, so he was the only one that had it, he was hoping.
Oh man, what an ace and a hoe for that, that's for sure. Well, let's hope that the button worked today, and I'm probably be correct if I say that I'm sure he's probably wearing that button out.
Well, we still haven't seen him. He was running up front, but still right now it's Sean Hollick physically in first, Jay Shaw physically in second, with roughly a 4-minute split on those guys. Jay Shaw did start in front, so he's got to pass. So he's got to pass Sean Hollick and still get him by roughly a minute 40, I believe. So Jay's got a real tough leg in front of him if he wants to get around Sean Hollick.
And ladies and gentlemen, if you're watching our screen right here, these guys out here are doing a great job of videoing a lot of the wood sections and stuff. You can see them kind of trying to go up these hills. Even though they've been up these hills 3 to 4 times at least so far, they're still having problems getting up these hills. I mean, there's going from side to side, and then the mud is just making it crazy for them.
That sounds like that's Patrick Murray, the number 902. He is still a lap down, just like Justin Barth, heading out on his 4th lap. So this is his halfway mark for Patrick Murray and his Can-Am. There's another great shot. That looks like it may be Jay Shaw and the G2 hill climb. There's a great shot of Patrick Murray and his Can-Am. Making good work out there, looking fast, looking smooth. The car seems to be holding together really nice. Abbey off-road roller section. Gets a little bit of air time. Now we'll hit the Dirty Turtle whoop section. That first whoop, if you hit it just right, you can double that little jump. And then there's about 5 or 6 whoops you just got to kind of commit and try to stay on top. Because if you get into the bottom of those, they're filled with water, so they splash up pretty good.
You know, they're doing really good on the Talladega corner turn we have up there, the hairpin turn, doing really good.
So that was Chase Caprera. He's heading out on his 3rd lap. Remember, he had a belt issue, but I just saw Brian Caprera, Chase's dad, riding shotgun with him, giving a huge thumbs up at the KMC start-finish line. So they're still looking fast, looking smooth in their Can-Am, and this is the 4900 Can-Am class. And today is all about the 2018 KMC Wheels Battle in the BlueGrass. We're just outside of Bedford, Kentucky at the Dirty Turtle Off-Road Park.
You know, I've really noticed out here on the open track, these guys, I mean, some of them are running hard, just wide open, and then some of them are just trying to keep it on course and just keeping it smart and keeping it straight. You know what I mean? And it's not like they know they're that laps down or something like that, but they, you know, their goal is they're going to finish it. They're going to stay together and hopefully hope for a break. You know what I'm saying? As far as somebody breaking out in front of them, well, they can just weasel right through there and they're lucky to get.
I mean, just like you said right there, we've seen multiple flat tires. We've seen a few belts. People are sliding off track, getting stuck. So, you know, even though Sean Hollick is out front with a pretty good lead, it takes one little mistake, which when you're out front, it's kind of a weird position to be in because you don't know how hard to push. Am I going too slow? Am I going too fast? Am I overdriving? Am I underdriving? You don't have and obviously we have zero dust out here because sometimes it's kind of nice to have dust to see you're chasing it. You know, you can kind of stay in that little pattern to see how hard to push, but without that, you know, hopefully you have your spotters up here saying, hey, you know, the spotters could be tuned into us live, ultra4racing.com/live, and they can listen to us and get the split times and whatnot and keep their drivers updated. On screen was Patrick Murray and his Can-Am heading through the woods section.
Will, I'll give it to the Hammer King production for doing all the live feed here in the woods and stuff, man. The guy's doing a great job and definitely making our job a little bit easier. I mean, because, you know, we definitely cannot see anything that's happening in the woods if it wasn't for the live feed that they're giving us. So they're doing a great job. I appreciate them for sure. Makes our job a little bit easier so we can kind of help call and tell the audience what's going on.
And there is so much behind the scenes. Some of these guys showed up a week ago getting all these satellites set up and whatnot. And it looks like coming out of the Steel at Woods section should be the 220 Travis Zollinger. We'll see when he crosses the line. Yes, that's him. So he's our physical 3rd place on course. And he's roughly 10 minutes behind Sean Hollick. So on corrected time, it looks like Sean still is in the physical lead. Remember, they left in 20-second increments And this race will be on corrected time, just like our Oklahoma race and our Shamokin in Pennsylvania. This is our third and final race for the 4 Wheel Parts Eastern Regional Series. Up next will be our final race in the Laser Nut Western Series race, the battle at Ridgecrest, August 11th and 12th. And that'll set us up for the 4 Wheel Parts Nitto National Championship, October 20th and 21st, just outside of Reno, Nevada, at the Wild West Motorsports Park. Last year was my first year to go to that race, and it's an absolute spectacle. You know, the Lucas Oil guys race there, and then we throw the Ultra 4 cars on there. You can see the entire course on the side of this mountain. So if you're anywhere in that area, make a week of it. Reno Tahoe's up there. That's a beautiful part of the country. So be sure to, you know, hopefully you can be there in person to check it out. It's definitely a bucket list race to make. Very spectator friendly. We did have 25 UTVs leave the line this morning, and the attrition is definitely setting in. It's going to be interesting to see. We only have 3 guys out on their 5th lap.
So, Will, Miles, do we have a confirm anything that's confirmed on how many we actually have that's out of the race now, that's kind of called it quits for this race?
There's a lot of chatter on the PCI radio. I don't have any. There's definitely been some that have confirmed it. There's probably some guys that are out there stuck that aren't even sure. Looks like that's Jody Hickman. He is a lap or 2 down. But good to see him moving once again. Yeah, he's heading out on his 3rd lap, so he's 2 laps down. So he must have had some kind of issue back there, but got moving, and he's still running strong. I hear another car coming out of the Steel at Wood section. And that is Jacob Versey heading out on his 5th lap. So physically on course, we have Sean Hollick in 1st, Jay Shaw in 2nd, Travis Zollinger in 3rd, Jacob Versey in 4th. So we have 4 guys out on their 5th lap. Remember, everything is on corrected time. Again, I'm Miles Hasselquist alongside of Tim Smith. Everything we do say is unofficial, but we do our best to keep as accurate as we can.
Now, he did get to change his tire on his front driver's side. I did see that when he come back around. It looks like a brand new tire. The rim's nice and clean, so you know he changed it somewhere.
Yeah, the hot pits aren't too far away from us, so he must have whipped in there, got it changed, back on course, and that's a great call because, man, some of those long hill climbs with a flat tire would be terrible.
Definitely. A lot of slate back there. It looks like they were having problems going up, and like we've been talking about all day, the course back in the woods has just changed so quickly, and especially if you're falling behind somebody that's having a lot of multi-problems. You got to kind of either stay away from him or not try to follow his course, you know, because it's going to change. You go up the hill on the left side the first time, you're like, wow, I hit it on the left side every time. That doesn't always work like that.
And we've got a battle coming out of the woods. It looks like Ross Pilgrim's getting chased down hard by Sean Hollick. Our leader is out on his last lap, I believe. So Sean Hollick just got the white flag. He's out on his 6th and final lap. And he got around Ross Pilgrim, which just finished his 1st lap. So Pilgrim had some issues out there. The car still looks like it's together, but Sean Hollick out front in the lead on his final lap. So this will be very interesting to see the split times. Right now he's at 1:18.43, so we'll see how close behind him Jay Shaw is. But Sean Hollick having a great, great race. Remember, Sean Hollick left in 5th position, so Jay Shaw has to get around him and gain just shy of 2 minutes. So it looks like it's Sean Hollick's race to lose. If he can keep it together, keep it smooth, he'll do great. He just hit the savvy off-road roller jump into the Dirty Turtle whoop section. Looks like we have the Can-Am of Casey Shear heading out on his 4th lap. And Cole Clark right behind him heading out on his 4th lap. So Casey Shear and his Can-Am's completely covered in mud, but still looking good. Cole Clark's trying to chase him down in the short course section. And these cars are just completely covered in mud.
This is probably about as many cars we've had on here, side-by-sides on here since it started, you know. I mean, now the guys are kind of getting that groove going, and the ones that's not going to get around or had problems, so.
And they're off the course now,
That's
so a lot
right.
of lap traffic has already called it quits, so there's a lot less UTVs physically on course. I'll bet you we have less than half that finish this race.
That's right. That's exactly right.
And talking about that, if the rain does move in like they're talking later this afternoon, the EMC guys will have a handful, and then the 4400 guys that have unlimited horsepower, unlimited suspension, unlimited tires. But boy, playing in the mud on the side of a mountain, it's going to be interesting.
That's right. Definitely a game changer.
Yeah, we were out here last year racing, and the weather was perfect. It was a lot of fun, so this mud absolutely changing things up. Cole Clark just does stick a pass in the short course on Casey Shear heading into the woods. That's a great shot of one of our G2 hill climbs. And there are 2 spots out on course where you have to come to a complete stop and do a stop check. They have to verify your number, write down a time, and give you a thumbs up, send you back on course. Just in case, you know, we double, triple check all our timing to make sure nobody's short coursing, nobody's having any issues, but boy, these guys are having a lot of fun.
Ladies and gentlemen, also too, always come to DirtyTurtleOffroadPark.com. Visit us. Go to our Facebook page, like it, follow us. Come down here and enjoy our park we have here. We've got a great park here. It's a family-oriented park. We've got a lot of great facilities. We got cabins out here that you can rent for the weekend, by the day, however you want to do it. And we've also got a great shower houses, fully.
And they've got a great general store. They have spare parts, T-shirts, cold drinks. And speaking of that, we've got Daddy's Food that's been following us around all season long. They've been feeding us, so huge shout out to Daddy's Food vendor for being out to every race. Dirty Turtle also has their own little kitchen. They got some kettle corn. So if you're on site, there's plenty of munchies, plenty of food, plenty of cold drinks. There's ice up at the general store. Nitto Tire is on site with their hauler, just like Renegade Race Fuel. If you order race fuel about a week ahead of each race, they will deliver race fuel on site. That makes it a lot easier for a lot of these racers. So we've got another UTV crossing the KMC start-finish line. That's Chris Holland, just finishing his 2nd lap, heading out for 3. So we must have had some kind of issue back in the woods section. So once the leader gets the white flag, everybody behind him gets the white flag also, even though they're not on the lead lap. That will be their last lap to go. So that was a good catch on your end, Tim. So Sean Hollick is the only guy out on his 6th and final lap. It'll be very interesting to see how far back Jay Shaw is. We had Dustin Robbins earlier. We had Travis Zollinger, Jacob Versey. We hope to see some of those guys come through. But right now, Sean Hollick really pulling out a pretty decent lead. This is the 2018 KMC Wheels Battle in the Bluegrass. We're just outside of Bedford, Kentucky at the Dirty Turtle Off-Road Park. If you're here on site, grab your smartphone, tune in, ultra4racing.com/live. Go to our King of the Hammers Facebook, hit that share button. Go to the Ultra4 Racing Instagram, do all the hashtags. Tell your friends, tell your family. This is our 3rd and final race for the 4 Wheel Parts Eastern Regional Series. That's a great shot of one of our Jeep hills. Looks like that may have been Patrick Murray still cruising on through. It'll be very, very interesting to see how this course holds up, because right now it's starting to really tack up. There's still some water holes out there, but the course is really coming together. But we'll see if some of that rain moves in. There's definitely a lot of clouds out there. Anything could happen. Last night it got really dark really fast, and some heavy, heavy rain moved through here. But the course is holding up as good as it can. The Hammer King guys and the Dirty Turtle Off-Road Park guys have been out here working their tails off, making this place as good as it can be. And for as much rain as we've had, they've done a great job doing it. So I hear another UTV coming out. That could be Patrick Murray, the number 902 in his Can-Am. We'll see when he crosses the line. He'll be getting his white flag. That is Patrick Murray heading out for his 5th lap. So he will be 1 full lap down when he finishes, as long as he can make it all the way. So far, it still is just Sean Hollick out on his 6th and final lap. That looks on screen, could be Ross Pilgreen. He had some issues. He hadn't made very many laps, but if the car's still together, he did qualify to race in the 4400 class, because these UTVs do pass all the safety requirements to be an unlimited race car. But I'll tell you, I would not want to be in a UTV with some of the big, fast guys, Eric Miller, Levi Shirley, the Campbells. Being in a UTV getting chased down by those guys, no thanks.
Well, I'm sure when these guys get down on this course here today, they're going to be ready for a 2-minute break and probably a cold drink and a sandwich or something, you know.
There's Patrick Murray hitting the savvy roller jump, heading into the Dirty Turtle Whoop section. That Can-Am still looking strong, looking smooth. Like I said, once the leader gets the white flag, everybody behind him gets the white flag as well. No matter how many laps down they are, that will be their last lap. So is it possible Sean Hollick could pass the entire field and be the only one to complete this 6-lap race? That will be very interesting. Last time around, we had 4 people head out for their 5th lap. So the attrition is definitely setting in with this muddy conditions we have out in the wood section, along with the short course.
Miles, they're definitely going up these hills in the woods course a lot faster than they was a while ago. That's for sure. These guys have got it set. I'm sure a lot of the puddles have got dried out, and then it's got a lot tackier back here on the hills too, which is going to be an advantage probably to the next group coming up, because I'm sure they're going to be racing the same course. Is that right, Miles?
The next guys, the Everyman Channels guys, will run a very similar course, except for the stock class does have a couple bypasses because, again, they're running on 35-inch tires, stock motors, stock trannies. So most of them are Jeep Cherokees, TJs and whatnot. So those guys, we got to get a little bit easy on them, have the power to motor up some of these long mud climbs.
Yeah, I understand that. That's for sure.
And I've got the radar pulled up. There are a few small showers out there, but way north of us in Indianapolis, there is some rain, but it looks like it should miss us to our north, so we'll just have to play it by ear to see what happens. But if we could luck out and not get any rain today, that would be tremendous.
Well, Miles, if it's any consolation, I'm just going to leave you in charge of the weather today. So if it rains, everybody can be mad at you, and we can talk about you if it rains, and if it doesn't, we can talk good about you. But all the pretty sunshine you bring with you, how about that?
I'm just checking the Google, so can't blame me on anything.
Oh, no, we're going to hold you accountable, Miles. You've kind of already stepped up to that. So I'll take care of the weather for tomorrow.
And this will be roughly just shy of a 4-mile course. It was originally a 5.3-mile course, but we shaved off about 1 3/4 of some of the single-track steep hill climbs that everybody was having problems with in pre-running yesterday. So just because with all the rain and mud, we wanted to make it fair and make sure there were some finishers.
Now, this next race coming up, you say it's 4 miles. Is that what you're saying? Is that correct?
Yeah, just shy of 4-mile race course is what they're racing now and in the other race. Because even with some of the bypasses, it's not like they're skipping a lot of mileage. They're just taking a bypass around this hard hill. So it's similar mileage. It's just a couple easier spots on some of the bypasses.
And the race coming up next, you're saying that they're skipping around all that, and these are more stock, more basic off-road?
Great question, Tim, because this will actually be the Everyman Challenge race. So there's 3 races going on at the same time. We'll have the 4600 Pro Comp stock class and the 4500 Rubicon Express modified class and the 4800 G2 Legends class. So like I said, there'll be 3 races going on all at once. So me and you are going to be busy. So over the PCI radio, I'm getting a little bit of chat that we may have our lead, Sean Hollick, come through. So he may be the only one to complete 6 laps. That'll be very, very interesting if he can pass 24 cars out on course, whether they were broke or a clean pass. Looks like here's going to be another Can-Am. That is going to be the 1481 of Chase Caprera. He's at the halfway mark getting his white flag, so this will be his last lap. Remember, they broke their front diff in pre-running yesterday. We were able to switch it out with Zollinger's. They qualified, got out here racing, broke a belt right as they finished their first lap, and with all this mud, it took a long time to change that belt. But Brian Caprera, the father of Chase, is riding shotgun. He will be racing his 2-seat Campbell IFS car in the big class later on today. So they'll swap seats and go run once again. So that's kind of a good strategy as well, because he's getting the best kind of pre-running you can get, is he's seeing the whole course for like 5 whole laps before he races it later.
So what do you think is going to go through his mind when Dad drops into the driver's seat and son sits on the passenger seat? What do you think he's going to tell these boys to now? You just kind of sit back and watch Dad do it?
They got a great relationship. They kind of give each other a hard time, but they really have a lot of fun. The father-son time out here, that I just love seeing that. I mean, the Campbells brought the whole family through. Brian Shirley used to race. Now Levi stepped in and is doing extremely well. So it's great to see how the generations are really starting to step up and, step into their own highlight.
Yeah, that is awesome. Absolutely awesome.
So here's one. This could be Sean Hollick. I can't quite tell. This looks like the checkered flag will go to Sean Hollick, the unofficial winner for the 2018 KMC Wheels Battle in the BlueGrass in the 4900 Can-Am class. Sean Hollick, our unofficial finisher, and he is the only person, I believe, that will finish all 6 laps. So great job, Sean Hollick. Coming across next will be Jacob Versey, just finishing his 5th lap So on physical, he will be our second physical finisher. We'll just have to see how that shakes out to make the podium or not, but Sean Hollick, the only one that will finish all 6 laps. That just goes to show you how brutal this course is out there.
Miles, I know you probably couldn't see him, but Sean Hollick's co-pilot there in the passenger seat was jumping all up and down. I thought he was going to jump up on top as he went up over this last, went through the finish. Got the checkered flag there in his first place, but the co-pilot was more excited than I think everybody else around here was. That's real good to see that, because they know what they've done. They know what they've accomplished on this tough course today as far as the woods goes, the mud. I mean, a lot of hills they climbed today, those two right there, and that's what it took. Out some serious teamwork.
So I'm got a pretty good overview of Sean Hollick's car right now, and the thing still looks like it's in great shape. Looks like Casey Shear just came through, finishing his 4th lap in his Can-Am Gigabit off-road sponsored machine. We had Patrick out here with Gigabit. Cool to see him out on the East Coast, and his Casey Shear's left rear wheel is about to fall off, so he about did not make this race. So we got another one finishing his race. This should be Jody Hickman finishing his 3rd lap. So he made it halfway through. And again, once the leader takes the white flag, everybody gets it behind him. Once the leader takes the checkered flag, nobody else goes back on course. So what a race we've had for the 4900 Can-Am class for the 2018 KMC Wheels Battle in the Bluegrass. We're just outside of Bedford, Kentucky at the Dirty Turtle Off-Road Park. It's actually starting to cool down just a tick. The wind's starting to pick up, so is the weather moving in? Time will tell.
That's right. And I tell you what, no matter if they completed 1 lap or 6 laps on this race here, my hat off to them for sure. Been a tough race for the guys and gals out there. They've done a great job.
And what a job Sean Hollick did to lap the entire field. He had his hands full, and like I said, I just saw his car cruise by. It still looks like it's in great shape. He could make another couple laps if he wanted to. I doubt he does.
I tell you what, I agree with you 100%. As we was talking about, when they went across the finish line there and got that checker flag, the co-pilot there was just jumping all up and down, super excited. A lot of yelling and screaming was going on inside the cab of that machine, and I'm very proud of them. They've done a great job. Ladies and gentlemen, as you can see and listen to us talk about throughout the morning here on this race, this race was definitely no walk in the park. Even though they did change the course around a little bit this morning, so they didn't have to go up some of the hills, some of the steep turns and stuff. It's still been a crazy course. I mean, the weather, it played a huge role in it, and we've made some adjustments to make it a little bit safer for them. Even though we've done that, it's just been tough for them all the way around. A lot of flat tires, belts breaking, stuff like that, sliding off course, trying to get back on course. These guys and gals today, ladies and gentlemen, have really done an awesome job in this first race we've had here at the Dirty Turtle Off-Road Park.
And it's going to be very interesting to see how this podium shakes out, because there's still a lot of cars on course. How many are going to finish their 5th lap? We're going to see. Like I said, we had Dustin Robbins running good for quite a while. He dropped out. We had Justin Barth doing okay. We had Patrick Murray doing okay. Jacob Fursey doing pretty well. So, man, it's going to be very, very interesting to see how this podium plays out.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we've got a lot of great racing coming up also today. Miles, on the next race coming up, what is the name of the next race coming up, would you say?
These are challenge guys. We'll have three different classes all at once. We'll have the 4600 Pro Comp stock class. These guys have to have a stock OEM frame, factory engine, factory transmission, a maximum of 35-inch DOT-approved tire, a single shock per corner, and mechanical steering. We also will have the Rubicon Express modified class. They have to have a modified, they have to start with somewhat of a OEM chassis, but they can modify it. Can have 2 shocks per corner, mechanical steering of some sort, and a maximum of a 37-inch DOT tire. And then it goes into the 4800 G2 Legends class. These are a lot of extremely fast. Straight axles up front. So these 3 races will go on all at the same time. It's going to be a lot of fun to watch. So be sure to, we're going to stay tuned in for the 4900 Can-Am class for just a little bit longer, get some more guys across the line, and then we'll log off on the Facebook, take a little bit of a break. Be notified every time King of the Hammers goes live. For racing.com/live. I know a lot of guys, they'll put family over in Europe that tunes in. Remember, the time change is so different, so some of those guys are just now waking up to go out to the garage, goof off on their car, and get things ready from their end. So we got a lot of friends and family over there checking in, tuning in with us. So we got some competitors from Canada. Dustin Robbins, he's a KMC hard charger for his class. It's just cool to see how much Ultra 4 has grown.
It sounds pretty huge, that's for sure. I know that everybody I've met on the Ultra 4, whether it's the drivers or the ones that's with them, so nice. Everybody's just very polite, very friendly. It's like a great family, just like us here at the Dirty Turtle Off-Road Park.com here in Bedford, Kentucky. This is the mud racers out here, whether no matter what the races are, if it was for side-by-sides or the rock bouncers and stuff like that, everybody's just a great family here. We all work together and play together. We'll say in the mud. So.
And speaking of the rock bouncers, tonight, 8 o'clock, rain or shine, will be the Big O dealership shootout. There's $7,500 on the line for that. And Justin Barth just completed his 5th lap. So he could. Remember, everything's on corrected time. Everything is unofficial, but as it stands right now, he could be the 3rd spot on the podium. So great run by Justin Barth out of Springfield, Missouri. He'll be extremely happy if he can get on that podium. But remember, it will get shaken up, I promise. Our crew's in here just double, triple checking, crossing the T's, dotting the I's, making sure our timing out in the woods matches our timing up here in the tower and all that jazz. So we're going to do our best to keep you guys up to date. We got another one coming across the line. That's going to be Ross Pilgreen, I believe. Yes, he had a rough day. He just finished 2 laps, so he had issues out there. But the car still looks like it's in pretty good shape. Remember, he is qualified to race the 4400 race, so we'll see what kind of strategy he has, see what kind of issues he had out there to see if he needs to address something. But boy, like I said, if I was in a UTV, I would not be wanted to be chased down by the big boys. So we have another guy cross the line. That's Chris Holland. He finished 3 laps. So as it stands, physical finishers, it should be Sean Hollick, Jacob Versey and Justin Barth. Like I said, everything could get switched up on corrected time and whatnot, but as it stands right there, that's what it's looking like to me. Hasselquist next to Tim Smith. We will be with you all day long, so thank you and sorry for everything we're going to say today.
That's all right. We'll do the best job we can. And I'll tell you what, we got a great filming crew out here today. It's doing a good job helping us out, being able to call the shots and trying to talk to people and tell them what we're seeing if they can't see it at the time or whatever. So we'll do the best we can.
And I hear another Can-Am coming through. Could this be the 902 of Patrick Murray? I do believe so. Yes, it is. He just finished his 5th lap, so we'll see what kind of corrected time is between him and Justin Barth. So Justin Barth and Patrick Murray started 20 seconds apart, so Patrick Murray would have had to be within 20 seconds. I do not believe he was. So it still looks like Barth should have it. That 3rd spot. So as it stands, unofficially, it's still Sean Hollick, Jacob Versey, and Justin Barth on the podium. Remember, it is corrected time, so we won't know until the complete end of this race. They did leave in 20-second increments. So it looks like Patrick Murray was only about 2 or 3 minutes off Justin Barth's pace. So after a long day of racing, these guys have been racing just shy of 2 hours of wide open racing. And with the slick mud conditions, they had their hands full.
Ladies and gentlemen, be sure and go to our Facebook page, DirtyTurtleOffroadPark.com, and check out some of our upcoming events. We've got a lot of events we do throughout the whole year, from the spring all the way into the fall. And and our park is open through the week and the weekends and stuff for all kinds of different kind of events. We're always looking for good sponsors. A lot of sponsors to come down here and they put up banners and stuff, and we talk about them, announce things about them at different shows and races that we have here. But if you want to come down, bring the kids down, the 4-wheelers, the side-by-sides, dirt bikes, whatever you might have, come on down and enjoy. We've got a great park here, a lot of great off-road trails. We do have a great perimeter trail that you can take a stock Jeep, pretty much a stock Jeep, and take a stock Jeep and ride around the outside perimeter trails. And if you'd like to do that, that's great. So it's not like you have to have a big jacked up monster truck or anything like that to make the perimeter trail around our park here, and it's a lot of fun. You can just enjoy the day. If you decide you want to come down and camp for the weekend, we got great facilities here. We have several cabins here, these nice cabins that sleep around, I think around 8 people. They got AC, little refrigerator, nice table in them. I've stayed in them myself, and they're great facilities for staying the weekend if you don't have a camper or something like that.
And speaking of the Dirty Turtle, we got the owner here. How's it been going?
It's been a great day. It started out rainy yesterday, but the track's been tacking up. The times are speeding up. Everybody's having a good time. Just a good day out here.
Yeah, well, thanks again, Scott, for opening this part up to the Ultra 4 family. We've been here a couple years now. We really enjoy racing here. You got a crazy cool place. The cabins are nice, the general store. I mean, even the grass is mowed out in the middle of the short course. So you guys have been working your tail off to put on this great race. Thank you again.
Hey, we love having Ultra 4 out here. I wish we could do it more than once a year, but we understand that part of it. But every one of the guys that races for Ultra 4 always comes by and tells us how much they like the place. It's just it's a good group of people. We love having you guys out here.
Well, thanks again, Scott, for that. Dirty Turtle Off-Road himself. We're still hot and heavy in the 4900 Can-Am class. That was Chase Caprera that just crossed. He finished his 4th lap. with his father Brian Caprera riding shotgun. So here in a little bit they'll swap seats, get in their 4400 Unlimited car and race once again. So again, I was telling you earlier, Tim, this is the best kind of pre-running you can do, is race earlier in the morning with the UTV and give the best, you have the best look at this course just by racing it. He got in 4 whole laps of pre-running during this race.
That's right, and definite advantage for sure. Especially the ones like we was talking about a while ago, that the son was driving and the father's riding co-pilot there. That's going to be a definite ace and hope for him as far as when he comes back to race, he's going to know more about it. And plus, a lot of the people that are tuning online watching us that's getting ready to come up and race these next couple hours here or whatever, they're going to know more about the track, what they expect and stuff. So, and we've not had any rain since this race here, throughout this race, so that means the track's going to get a little tagger, a little drier. A little more speed's going to be picking up for the next race coming up. These guys are going to need it, running this mostly stock, we're going to call it, on these. So, looking for a good day, and the next race coming up is going to be a great race.
While we have a little bit of break in the action, we're going to have to thank some of our sponsors once again. Without these people, we would not be here racing today. 4-Wheel Parts, Amada, Axial, Best, Can-Am, ESOB, Fab School, G2, Genrite, Griffin, HCR, Holly EFI, Jeep, King, KMC, Lasernut, MBRP, Method, Monster Energy, Nitto Tire, Optima Battery, PCI, ProComp, RCV Axles, Renegade Race Fuel, Reno Tahoe, Rigid Industries, Rubicon Express, Champa, Share My Coach, Savvy, Smittybuilt, Spider Tracks, Squatchbox, Steal It, Tensor, US Gear, Yukon. So again, thanks for all those guys stepping up to make the Ultra 4 work. So please support who supports us. Go check out their website, check out their Facebook, give them a like. We're all out here to have fun, and that's what we are doing. So we are about to wrap up the 2018 KMC Wheels Battle in the BlueGrass for the 4900 UTV Can-Am class, but be sure to stay tuned all day long. Ultra4racing.com/live. We will go on and off of Facebook between races, so be sure to tune back in if you're on Facebook. I hear another UTV making some noise coming out of the Steal It Woods section. We should have visual here very shortly. The wind is starting to pick up. I just checked the radar once again. There's a couple small batches. We'll see if we get lucky or not. But so far it has not rained today, but it has rained off and on all weekend long. This could be Dustin Robbins in his SR1 Polaris. And it is Dustin Robbins finishing his 3rd lap. He was running way up front and had some issues out back, and we're not quite sure what happened, but at least we see him here at the finish line. Anybody that's on site that wants to volunteer to sing the national anthem before the 4400 race, please come up to the spotter tower, find me or Shannon. We would love to have a live act singing the national anthem just before the 4400 race. So if you know of anybody that's here on site, send them my way, please. Up next, we will have our EMC races. That's where we'll have 3 different classes racing all at the same time. We'll have the 4600 Pro Comp Stock class, the 4500 Rubicon Express Modified class, and the 4800 G2 Legends class. Lots of But those little guys are only 2-wheel drive, so that is definitely weather pending, but we surely hope to get the 170s out on course. So we have the right hand
today. We didn't need a water truck or anything like that, that's for sure. So we're gonna keep our fingers crossed we can keep the rain held off. Looking at it, looks like, I know you've already talked about it, but Sean Halleck, Jacob Bursey, and Justin Barth look like our 1, 2, and 3 at this point. That's phenomenal. And if you're watching right now, we're gonna do something to make sure that you can see the end of each one of these races. If you're watching on Facebook Live, to make sure we don't have that happen. So what does that mean for you? We will be back live when our next race starts, but if you're watching right now and you want to watch the next race, if you're on Facebook, you just do that right click and you do notify me when we go live, and then it will notify you the next time we go live, whether you're watching on King of the Hammers or Ultra 4, or even Eric Miller's pages. Our drivers are all hosting this, so there's a lot of drivers that are hosting this live stream today. So do that, and we will be back live with the next race. If you're hit that share button. Honestly, guys, we do this because we know you're watching, and we need the world to know about Ultra 4. If we want to continue to grow and you want to see this great coverage, the more people who know about it, the better. And those of you watching at home, because I know we have some drivers watching at you talked about. That's really how that goes, right? Hit that button when we come back on, do that button, and we'll be here today.
Hello? Are you in the live trailer? Okay. So let me close.
We had 100-year record rain on Friday, and we raced on Saturday. Why? Because that's what Ultra 4 cars do. They race anywhere, anytime, on any terrain. We don't have any sissies out here, and that includes our UTVs. So.
Well, thank you again, Shannon Welch, for keeping me honest. She's in my ear all the time on my PCI radio, keeping everything running smooth. And I'll just follow up a little bit. There's been a lot of fun we've been having on social media with Chris Summers not coming out. You know, he's part of Sometimes Racing. Lauren Healy was all packed up to come race here. He saw the weather, unpacked the race car, loaded up the Jeep, headed. You know, this is racing. This is unlimited racing. So again, thanks for everybody tuning in.
I break something on the car, I'm not. I have this promise in the back of my head to the have put their life on pause.
very important getting out front, having sort of clean air. You know, chasing down Shannon, who's one of my favorite people in the sport. I was just trying to run a smart race, not make mistakes.